In this video, I'm going to be taking you through my June spending and my plan for spending in July. I've had to shift some things around in my budget after a layoff, and as I'm currently doing a career pivot and trying to build back up my freelance contracts, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I feel like I'm coming down from the shock of being underemployed, and I kind of feel more like things are on the up and are going to work out. So yeah, I have my laptop here, so let's get into it. Okay, so in the month of June, I had planned to make $7,600. I ended up receiving $6,780. There must have been some missing payments, or I miscalculated like the net terms of one of my clients. But yeah, it's my final payment from the client that I no longer work with. Kind of sad. But yeah, I also plan to sell a Fujifilm camera. I still haven't. I feel like I've been trying to sell it for a couple of months, and I don't know what's stopping me. I kind of feel like I want to keep it and see if I can use it for content creation, but we'll see. But yeah, so I didn't sell that. YouTube, so I made $2.40 from Amazon affiliate links, which is super exciting. And then this S-Bucks thing here, it was old beanstalk that I had from when I was a Starbucks barista in university. I forgot about it until a couple of months ago, and then I checked, not expecting to have really anything, but it ended up being $1,200 after taxes and everything. So that was kind of cool. I feel like it was my 20-year-old self paying me now, which was great. And then moving on to housing. So everything here is a fixed expense. Nothing really to report on. I'm really grateful that my fixed expenses are relatively low, especially right now. It makes it a lot easier to kind of lean into this career pivot and not stress too much about having to make rent. Transportation was my Opus card month pass. So that was $104.50. And that's my only transportation cost. So it's not really that bad. I take the metro almost every day to go to my French classes, and it's been great to just be able to hop on the metro and visit a friend or whatever instead of having to buy like a single pass. Here's where things got interesting. So this budget was made before I got laid off. So I had planned $200 on groceries. I ended up spending almost only $100, but I will admit the past 2 days I went a little bit wild. I ended up buying some cold brew from the grocery store, and I also bought a big bag of cherries. Fresh cherries were on sale, and I feel like fresh cherries to me are like the sign of summer, so I kind of just let myself spend a little bit extra at the end of the month. But $125 for an entire month of groceries is really good. Restaurants and entertainment, I ended up spending $59. So this was on some coffee with friends, some treats for friends who were leaving Montreal. Then I also bought Elizabeth Gilbert's new book. I found a signed copy on Facebook Marketplace, and this is kind of embarrassing, but I don't let myself get embarrassed by this. I love Elizabeth Gilbert so much. Eat, Pray, Love. Like, I read it for the first time when I was 15, and I don't know why my 15-year-old self resonated so much with this 30-something divorcee, but I've reread it like probably at least 5 or 6 times in my life, and I always read it after a breakup. But this time I was like, I think I should treat myself to her latest book, which is about love addiction and her navigating her relationship with her partner who died of cancer. So I'm really enjoying this book. I feel like I shouldn't have spent the $25 on it, but I'm glad that I did. And $25 for a hard copy signed edition of this book is such a good deal. I looked at the jacket and the original price for the non-signed version is $50. $50 plus tax for a book. That's so wild. But yeah. And then down in this personal area, my phone bill is a fixed expense. My subscriptions, so when I got laid off, I basically went on a rampage and canceled every subscription. The only one that I kept was Netflix, and the reason that it's only $6 is because somehow I pay for Turkish Netflix, which gets like all of the same content as the Canadian one, but I pay the Turkish price for it, which makes it pretty affordable. In my last budget update video, I talked about adding a category for self-care because I was broken up with and wanted to treat myself a little bit. I planned on getting a pedicure and starting ClassPass for like a Pilates. But then, as we all know at this point, I lost my main freelance job, so I decided to cut self-care to $0. I did not get a pedicure and I did not start Pilates, but that's okay. And then moving down to lifestyle. So for pet care, this one is always going to be expensive now that Ollie needs to get a shot of Silencia for his arthritis. I planned $300. I ended up spending $371. That's because I had to buy his food, but I buy a really big bag of the food that I feed him. So this should last at least 2 more months, so I won't have to worry about food for a while. The injection itself was $205, and then the only time I ever take Uber is when I'm bringing him to the vet because I don't think I could handle taking Ollie on the metro. So Uber there and Uber back are around $40. Work stuff, I tried to cut down as well. So I mentioned in my last budget video, I was going to cancel all of the freelance writer newsletters that I subscribe to. So that freed up around $20. I pay for Google storage and iCloud, which there's not really any way around that. And then, as I mentioned in other videos, I bought a Teaching English as a Foreign Language course, and that was $46.90. Okay, moving on to hobbies. I can't remember exactly why I put $120 for hobbies. That seems really high. I ended up, what did I do? Okay. I ended up spending $84.34, and that was on my Canva subscription for YouTube, CapCut for YouTube, and Loom for YouTube, which is actually this platform that I'm using to share my screen. I ended up canceling the Loom subscription, so this will probably be my last video in this like circular floating head format. And then I also bought a French dictionary for $4.25 at a used bookstore because I had French exams this month and I found out that we were allowed to bring a dictionary with us for the exams. So I bought a used one, $4.25, which is not bad because I'm continuing with French classes, so I will be able to use it moving forward. For medicine and vitamins, there was going to be nothing, but I did have to get orange juice and banana bread at the hospital. I mentioned this again in another video, but I go to the hospital every 3 months because I have psoriatic arthritis and I have to get a checkup and blood work and all of that stuff. But this time I got a steroid injection in my hand and it made me pass out. So I had to get emergency sugar after that experience. Okay, coming down to debt. Ignore everything that's like red here. I don't know why it does this. The main two are LOC2 and RRSP loan. So for my loan, I ended up paying $1,745, which brought the balance down to $4,125. I'd love to pay this off as soon as possible, but we're going to have to see how freelancing goes now that I'm not gainfully employed. Yeah. And then RRSP loan, it's a fixed expense that comes right out every month. So it's $813.64. I have around $17,000 left on that. Okay, and now jumping into July. So I calculated that based on net terms of my freelancing clients, I should be receiving around $4,300 from that. This is from work that I've done 1 month to 3 months ago. So that will start coming in July. And then unbelievably, I should be receiving around $1,200 from YouTube. I can't believe that. It's my first month monetized, and I really thought I would make like $50 from it, but the ad revenue has been pretty good, and I'm also making money from affiliate revenue, and I have a buy me a coffee link as well, and I've gotten some really generous supporters there, so I should be receiving $1,200 from various YouTube ventures, which is so amazing. I'm so excited about that. Okay, housing, fixed expenses. It's worth noting that my rent is going up. It was $1,450. Moving forward, it's going to be $1,460 every month, which I think it's okay. When I signed this lease, it was like a lease takeover, 4 months. I took 4 months from a previous tenant and then I signed on for another year. So this would be the start of that year. And I think a $10 increase is pretty fair. My Opus card will be a little bit less expensive this month. So usually I buy the month pass, but in July I have 2 weeks off from French class. I'm also going to my hometown. My dad and my stepmom are getting married, so that's so exciting. But the point is that I won't be using my Opus card as much. I won't be taking the Metro as much in July. So my plan is to spend $78 instead of $104, and that will be on 2 week passes for the 2 weeks of French class that I have. 4 single passes because I'll need it for the end of this week to get to French class, and then 1 airport pass. And then if I have to do like some one-offs, I still have the breathing room and it's still less expensive overall than a month pass. So that saves me some money this month. Groceries, I'm giving myself $150. I do feel like I'm a little bit less overwhelmed by the fact that I lost my main editing job last month. I found some new clients. I have the new stream of income from YouTube. So instead of trying to stick to $25 a week, well, actually, I'm still going to try to stick to that, but I'm just giving myself the extra $50 as a buffer. I feel like the $25 a week was really hard. And I just want to be able to give myself some breathing room. Restaurants and entertainment, I'm leaving at $50. It should be around that, although I'm realizing that summer in Montreal, I think I'm getting my spark back a little bit, to be honest with you. So I would like to keep it at $50, but I wouldn't be that upset if I hit $60. I'm also going to my hometown, as I mentioned, so I'll probably be going out for dinner to celebrate my dad and my stepmom. But yeah, I'd like to keep it around that. And then for this section, phone bill is a fixed expense. Subscriptions, like I said, it's just my Netflix, my Turkish Netflix account. Self-care, still nothing. Pet care should be around $300. Like I said, I already have Ollie's food for the next couple of months. So this will just be the trip to the vet. And then I'll probably have to buy another litter, like the litter box. Not the box, the actual litter to put in the litter box. I'm almost out, so I'll have to buy that. But that's usually around like $20. Work stuff, this should stay around $30. Hobbies. Oh yeah, okay. So I think, I don't know. I'm trying really hard to cut my expenses as much as possible, but one of my big goals for the year was to improve my level of French. And I did find a French tutor on Preply who I really liked. Her classes are $13 US per session. And I would love to be able to do one class a week with her, which will equal about 20 Canadian dollars a week. And then plus from YouTube, my Canva and CapCut subscriptions. But I'm still thinking about it. I kind of have this idea in my mind of doing a trade-off where, like, now that I'm almost done the TEFL certificate, I could become a Preply tutor myself. And then if I do, say, 6 to 8 classes, that would cover the cost of my own Preply tutor. So I'm thinking of maybe doing that. We will see. And then moving on to medicine and vitamins, I always have this at $40. The medicine that I take for my psoriatic arthritis costs around $30, I want to say. But sometimes the way it works is that, like, I'll pay for it right at the end of the month, and then I won't have to pay for it until the next month. And that's what happened last month. So this month I will have to rebuy it, and it will be around $30. So there's a little bit of wiggle room there too. And then down to my debt. I'd love to be able to pay off this LOC too, but I don't think it's going to be possible given my current state of underemployment. I would like to put at least $1,000 on it though. And then my RRSP loan, $813, that comes out no matter what. I also have to catch up with my credit card payments. I kind of let that lag behind a little bit, so I'll probably have to put some money on that this month as well. But overall, I think this is a good July budget. It gives me some buffer to try to get ahead as I'm collecting the income that is no longer coming in, basically. I'm trying really hard to be responsible and just try to set myself up for not the worst case scenario, but like if it takes longer than expected to build back up my freelance contracts, at least I know that I have this relatively low budget and I'll be able to float myself until the end of the summer. And I think by then, like, God willing, I should be able to get more contracts. But yeah, so that's that for July. I really think it's going to be fine. Like I said, I'm building back up my freelance clients. I'm pivoting. I'm really pushing on YouTube. And yeah, I feel like my initial stress that I had when I lost my main editing job has kind of come down a little bit. And I really feel like doing this budgeting and knowing that I'm living below my means makes a big difference as I'm currently navigating this career change. I really hope that this maybe inspired you to watch your budget a little bit closer than you have before, or start tracking if you've never tracked before. I feel like it makes me a lot less stressed out and just more in control overall. But yeah, so if you watched this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.